Hello and welcome to the 9 News Business Buzz. I'm Ryan Frazier, 9 News Business expert. We've been talking about AI for years, but now the efficiency phase has arrived in a big way. Denver tech giant Angi recently announced it is cutting hundreds of jobs, citing AI as a core driver for the move. But is AI just a tool for trimming payroll or an opportunity to upskill? Joining me to unpack this disruption is Dr. Anud Banihani with the CU Denver Business School. Dr. Banihani, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ryan.
It's great to have you. Now, Anud, Angi is the latest local name to cite AI-driven efficiency. We've heard talk about Amazon and Salesforce for major workforce reductions. From your perspective, are we seeing a permanent shift where AI replaces roles, or is this a temporary restructuring as companies figure out their new tech stack?
Well, thank you, Ryan. So I believe this is just a temporary shift. Now I know AI is replacing some routine jobs and repetitive roles and things like that. But I think with companies and what we're seeing now, if they actually reskill their employees and help them keep up with what's going on with the AI, I think we are ready to keep our employees and actually help them stay in organizations and companies.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is you're saying that you think this is just a part of, if you will, this transition, if you will, period of adapting to this new age of how and where and we use AI, so a bit of a transition. So now disruptions are becoming more common, as I said before, but you've argued there is an opportunity here.
Yes.
How can Colorado employers move from seeing AI as a replacement tool to using it as a force multiplier for creativity and productivity among their current employees?
So this is a very good question, Ryan. So AI is a tool. If we use it as a co-pilot for employees, it will actually help them speed up the work, it will help them draft and so on, but it will not replace the human judgment. It will not replace what a human can do in terms of context, in terms of quality, and in terms of decision making. So if I upskill my employees with the right AI tool, I can actually help my employees that whatever one employee was able to do, now with AI tool, this employee can do the job of several employees. So it is a force multiplier, and it will help companies do their job faster and maybe in a better way.
Now, we know that nearly 75% of local jobs now require some form of post-secondary training. As AI reshapes what entry level looks like, what specific skills should the next generation of workers be focusing on right now to stay ahead of the curve in this automation that's happening?
Yeah, so what we want to see now is basically young generation get skilled with, for example, generative AI, with prompt engineering, with critical thinking, they're ready to use the AI tools. So they really need to understand how to use the tools. And we're doing that even at universities, like myself as a professor, and I'm sure many others do, is we're trying to get a new generation ready with some AI tools. So once they actually graduate, they are ready for the market, they're ready for the companies and so on. So what we want companies to be able to do also to give some training for their employees on how to use the AI tools. Instead of just, for example, laying off people of their job, they can actually rise up with them using the AI tools.
Now, you know, I work in the business world. That's why I'm the 9 News Business expert. I bring a real world view, you know, and I work at this intersection of governance and risk and capital, work with founders and boards and leaders and investors and asset managers. So one of the big things that comes to mind for me is when working with boards or leaders, the folks who are oftentimes making the decisions about, do we cut, do we retrain, how do we prepare our workforce for the future? I want to unpack this just a little bit with you. So for boards and leaders, understanding AI is now, in my view, a basic requirement of good governance. So how do companies balance that push for efficiency with the responsibility of helping their people adapt and grow alongside this evolving technology?
So employees need to learn the skills. Good governance need to also get the time and the effort to actually teach these employees how to be up to, let's say, to the how do you say it? So I need to ensure, for example, that my employees are rising up with me as an organization. So if I, for example, if I want to just say this, sorry, so AI literacy is something that good governance need to ensure that all their employees have it to balance between efficiency and accountability and reskilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's very important. I mean, I think that's a part of what we're seeing here with Angi and with Salesforce and with Amazon and so many others who are thinking about, do I need as many employees as I used to? Mm-hmm. How do I get a greater profit margin for my shareholders, right? Yeah. And so they're making these decisions in this age of technology and mm-hmm. AI as it evolves. But I think it's very important for these decision makers to understand that sometimes the answer is not necessarily to cut. Sometimes it's to figure out how to better leverage and utilize your people to do more, to be better, to more creative, more productive. So I appreciate that view. Now, finally, Dr. Banihani, let's cut to the chase. For those employees who may be watching, mm-hmm. Who are worried about their jobs, mm-hmm. What is the best way to prove that they are more valuable to a company than an AI algorithm?
Okay. So Ryan, concern is understandable. So if employees are worried about their upcoming job, we've had that before when the internet came or with any upcoming any technology that came up. Now, the idea here is to keep up with the change. So I need to make sure that I invest in myself as an employer and to have the skills. So what organizations need to understand is if I had if I think that AI is instrumented enough to cover 100% of a business process from, let's say, requirement to delivery, then I'm wrong, okay? AI is not there yet. So I need to have my employees' input. I need to make sure that employees are on board and using the AI as a tool because it will replace tasks, but it will not replace the human judgment. And this is basically what the employees need to understand. Get yourself skilled, have the critical thinking skills, communication, learn prompt engineering, learn the AI, generative AI and things like that to be on board. And as I said at the beginning, use it as a co-pilot to get the work done. But being just worried and concerned is not productive. Yeah. So find the pathway to actually be on board with the change.
You know, something you said at a recent presentation you gave where we first met, you talked about how AI, as great as it is, doesn't always account for things like the history between people or the context, right? Let alone the reputational aspect, if you will, associated with it. And I think these are all places where the human connectedness is so important because, you know, AI may not know that I met you at the Metro Denver Executives Club where you were given a presentation on AI and what that means for our society, but you and I know that, right? Yeah. And so these are important things, I think, for folks to understand that there are pathways for people to stay and be a part of this future where AI helps us be more productive.
I always say it takes years to build trust, but it takes one mistake to actually lose your reputation. So with AI, you need to be careful. You really need the human input in this.
Dr. Angi Inc with CU Denver, thank you so much for joining me. The takeaway, AI isn't just about doing more with less. It's about doing things differently. We'll be back at the 11 o'clock hour to look at how a major round of layoffs at the National Laboratory is impacting the Golden community. For the 9 News Business Buzz, for my guest, Dr. Angi Inc, I'm Ryan Fraser. See you next time.